Hey guys, what's going on? I'm Ryan Fenders. Welcome back to the Fendertainment channel. On today's video, we're going to be installing DEEZEE tailgate assist to my 2004 Chevy Silverado. Now this right here product will fit on the 99 to 06 and 07 classic body styles of the Chevy Silverado and the GMC Sierra. Now with that being said, when you open these tailgates, they tend to drop down. So if you want to see how I installed it and modified it for my truck, stay tuned. Now we went ahead and removed the package and all of its contents are laid out. First you can see the instructions. Next thing you see here is they give you some blue Loctite. This is your tailgate assist itself. This is just like a gas strut. This big fender washer here actually goes between the upper mount and the body of the truck on the inside of the bed. Now we're going to talk about this right here washer in just a little bit. This lower section here is the lower mount. It only goes on the driver's side of the tailgate. It does not go on the passenger side. Here you have one smaller washer and two nylon locking nuts. And that's the contents inside of your tailgate assist package. Now before I use this blue Loctite thread locker here on all the hardware on the truck itself, now the company wants you to use this big fender washer between this upper mount here and the inside of the bed. Now I've read online there's some clearance issues and a lot of people are installing this upper mount without this washer here. So what we're going to do is install it both ways, but first we're going to install it the way they want you to install it without any of the blue Loctite, just to see if we have any clearance issues. If we do, we're going to remove this piece here and install it with Loctite in that position if it does rub, if that makes sense. The only tools they're calling for is a 13mm socket, but I have the socket with an extension of the socket wrench itself, and I went ahead and got a 13mm ratcheting wrench here. This also makes ease of work. Alright, so the first rule of thumb is to remove this cable here. There should be two of these cables on your truck tailgate. If there's only one and it's the one you're going to be removing, you're going to want to support your tailgate so the exterior appearance of the tailgate doesn't rub against the bumper and mess it up or scratch it, anything like that. So make sure you got all that prep work going, but if you have two, then you should be good here. What we're going to do to remove this, basically there's a clip here. It's just a spring clip. Now since the tailgate is down, it's pretty much very taut, so we're going to need to go ahead and raise the tailgate up a little bit, push this cable in and slide it off. Very simple process. So I'm going to raise the tailgate. I'm leaning up against my leg here and slide it off. Now go ahead and take this right here and put it out of the way so it doesn't hit anything. You don't want to scratch anything up, the light or the outside of the truck bed or anything like that. I don't think it would, but just for safety measures. Next, we're going to go ahead and remove this upper mount here. This is a 13mm, so we're going to remove it. So like I mentioned before, we're going to install the upper mount here and back into the slot here with the fender washer they provided. I'm not going to use any blue Loctite on here because I want to see if it rubs once everything's together. I'm just going to use that to tighten it up. So in order to mount the lower portion on, we're going to have to remove this bolt here. Grab your wrench, your extension, remove that. Next we're going to install the lower mount here. It goes on one way around this lower portion here. There's a spot that the existing bolt will go slide through and tighten that back up. All right, once we have the upper mount on and the lower mount, we need to place the shock assist on. But before we do that, the first step is to go ahead and place your cable back onto the upper mount, like so. Next, we're going to go ahead and mount the tailgate assist portion here. It slides on. This is the bottom of it, and this is the top. Just note the washer and one nylon locking nut goes up top. The other nylon locking nut goes on the bottom. And we're going to use the 13mm to tighten everything back up, and we're going to test opening it and closing it to make sure nothing rubs the outside edge of the tailgate. This is going to be kind of hard to tell from the outside standpoint from where you guys are watching this video, but this nylon nut actually goes into this section here of the tailgate, and when it does, it barely misses it. What you're looking at is the nylon nut on the very top of the mount. This is the inside of the tailgate itself. This is the inside of the bed. A lot of people are talking about is this nylon nut here rubbing against the inside portion, or that's actually the outside portion of the inside of the tailgate itself. On the inside portion, jam. And as you can tell, it barely misses. Okay? There's not any rubbing on there. So what I might do is I might just install this mount here without that fender washer, because I don't want it to scar up or scratch the inside of my bed. And I'm not saying my truck is perfect, but you know, I want to keep it as nice as I can for as long as I can. You see it barely misses it. You know, and it might expand and contract with the weather. So with that being said, I'm going to remove that fender washer. All right, so I have the bolt back into place here without that big fender washer here, and it's given me about 1/8 inch of clearance. So I have a light here. We're going to shine on the nut itself and the bolt, and you can watch it going through the paces. I have so much more clearance without that fender washer there than if it was installed. That's the way I'm gonna run it on my truck. All right, we're gonna use some of this blue Loctite here. It's about all it needs. Tighten it up with the wrench here. Okay. First step, let's go ahead and put on the cable. Next step is go ahead and install the shock itself, and have the shock with the ear facing forward and the shock itself in the rear position. Install the upper hardware and tighten. Install the lower hardware and tighten. So as you can see, this right here is over tightened on this top nut here. And why I'm saying that is when I up the tailgate, this right here cable is not lowering itself down and swiveling on the top mount. So go ahead and make sure this right here top nut, the threads are coming through the nut itself, but it's not too tight and locking everything together. Like that. And there you have it. We just installed the tailgate assist. Everything operates like it should. Alright guys, so that pretty much concludes this video here. This was a simple modification, very cheap. I'll put a link in the description below where you can pick one up. It might take you 5 minutes tops to install this. Remember about taking the fender bolt owner off. You can check yours for clearance. Maybe yours fits perfectly. Maybe yours doesn't fit, like mine wasn't doing it, barely touching. I just didn't want that on my truck. But yeah, it's a cheap, inexpensive, and a very, very good modification. I still cannot get over the fact that I can just let go and it just slows it down. I've done some other modifications to this truck. I'll put links up here and at the end of the video where you can check those out as well. And until next time guys, I appreciate you watching the Fentertainment channel. Be sure to drop a like and share this with a friend, subscribe to the channel. And one other thing, if you've watched this all the way to the end, drop the word tailgate into the comment section below. Lets me know that this is actually useful information and that you guys are enjoying it enough just to watch it. So I do appreciate it guys. We'll see y'all later.